Hey everybody, Jody here with FamCentric, and I'm here to be super transparent with you and share with you a big mistake that I made that I'm hoping and praying will make a big impact on your life so you don't have to make the same mistakes I do. As moms, and just as human beings in general, right? We all make mistakes, and this was a pretty big one on my part and pretty uncharacteristic of me. But the more I began to reflect on it, I really started to realize there was a bigger lesson here, and I'm really grateful that I went through it so that I can share this big revelation with you as well. So, the lesson I learned is about being present. And while I've heard, I've read blogs about it, I'm very aware of kind of helping yourself be present. This really brought it back to life for me. So I went on my first alone trip as a mommy. So it had been, at least 6 years that I've been a mom, and I never really gone on a trip off by myself and left my kids. And so I went on this trip, and I actually think that being by myself was kind of shifted my mindset a little bit. I really don't think I would have been in this situation if I had had my kids with me. So here I was in a rental car, which, by the way, was this hybrid, and I thought, all right, I'm going to try the hybrid because, I'm all into being eco-friendly and I get to try it out. And to be honest, I think driving a hybrid was like super dangerous for me. So I'll explain to you why in just a minute. It was so silent. If you've ever driven a hybrid, it's crazy. It's like so silent you don't even know it's running. Like it's kind of like messes with your mind, right? So I went up and visited some family, and on the way back, I found myself speeding excessively. I mean, not just a little bit over the speed limit. And if you know me as a person, I don't excessively speed. Like, that is just never happens. It's extremely rare, and if it ever happens, it's only in rare situations. But I'm really not one to excessively speed, and I'm definitely annoyed by people who are always in a hurry and rushing around, get out of my way, and but I found myself kind of in the middle of nowhere, just tooling along, and here's what happened. My mind and my heart were not in the present. They were already at my destination. I was really looking forward to meeting with this woman that I was excited to share about. I was excited to get to know, and I wanted to get there as soon as possible. Now, I wasn't like consciously telling myself, okay, I'm gonna like blaze through so I can get there as soon as possible. It was more of a subconscious, I just want to be there because I can't wait to be there because this is where I want to be. I don't really want to be going through these hours of the toolies. I just want to be there, and I want to spend some time with this person. And I found myself in this unfamiliar vehicle going way over the speed limit. And when the officer, of course, got me and pulled me over, I did not realize quite how fast I was going. And it was actually somewhat funny because he was super upset with me. And he ended up saying, "Ma'am, you were peeling the paint off the trucks." And my jaw dropped. I was like, what? And he could tell that I thought he was dead serious. And he finally said, "Ma'am, that's a phrase that we use around here that means you were being excessively fast." And I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. I had no intention of putting anyone in harm, especially myself. But for whatever reason, when I thought about it, I was not being present. I wasn't being in the moment of taking that time to get from one place to another. My mind and my thoughts were already there, and that just fed my actions into being there as quickly as I possibly could without even consciously realizing it. And so I wanted to share this with you because I think this might be a common thing for a lot of moms. We juggle a lot in our lives, and we've got so many, our list to do things is just like rolling out of our brain so much that things are falling out of our brain, we don't remember it all. And oftentimes when we're driving around town, or even when we're home, oftentimes we're like, okay, I gotta do the dishes, okay, I gotta check the mail, I gotta do this, I gotta wash the laundry, I've gotta, and we're so into, I want to be at the end of my to-do list, that we're not really conscious about the journey and about being in the moment of the moment. And I realized that that's a huge mistake. And that part of our journey is being conscious of ourselves and our lives right where we're at. Not necessarily, of course it's good to have goals. Of course it's good that I had a destination, because then I knew how to get there. I had the map quest, going to tell me, the navigation, telling me which streets to take and how to get there. But I was consciously already there instead of being where I needed to be. And like I said in the beginning, I somehow had this mentality like, I'm by myself, I don't have my kids, so I'm not going to be as safe. Like, did I consciously think that? No, but I do think that there was some level of, if I had had my kids in the back, there was no way possible I would have been driving that fast. No way, I guarantee you. Around town, I never drive fast like that, ever. So what prompted me to feel like it was okay, or just driving myself to be in that position? And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, it is just as much not okay for me to speed, because if something happened to me, that would be just as awful if I did something to myself or somebody else than if I had my kids in the car. It was so wrong on so many levels that when I got that ticket, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I, number one, couldn't believe I had done it. I just thought, what? Like, I don't do this. This is not me. If you look at my driving record, like, I don't do these things. It's crazy. But I found myself in this position because of a subconscious level of where I was at and where I was going. So I encourage you today, take the time to be present in who you are, in where you're going, in who's around you, and the time to value everything around you in every part of your journey, so that we don't end up pushing people out of our way in order to get to our destination. And I never think of myself as an aggressive driver, ever. As a matter of fact, I'm annoyed by people who are aggressive drivers. And just the thought that I ended up being the person that I'm usually looking at on the road going, oh, I can't believe you're doing that. You're putting everybody at danger, everybody at risk. Why would you drive so fast like that? Like, because I was in, the no man's land where there were so few cars and I was just in the middle of nowhere, I lost track of what I was doing. And it felt more okay to be just blazing through there. But going back to the vehicle, now here's part of the struggle that I had, is that vehicle, I can't explain it. And unless you've driven one of these hybrid vehicles, I think that's the only way to explain it, is if you experienced it. I don't know if it's because they're so quiet or what, but you cannot feel your speed in those things. Now, admittedly, if you know me, I drive a Ram dually, okay? I drive this big honking truck. So the fact that I was driving this little compact hybrid was such a leap of change for me that I literally could not feel the speed. Like, it felt, once I was very conscious, because obviously after I got that ticket, I am hyper aware of my speed. And I was like, the speed limit or less all the rest of the way. It literally felt like I was driving like 45 miles an hour. It was crazy. So I knew I was going somewhat fast, but I did not realize that I was going that fast. That was excessive. And it was so wrong on so many levels. But I couldn't feel it. So having that consciousness of what you're driving, what the speed is. I felt like I was very aware. Like I was looking around on the street. I was kind of, having my like awareness, my eyes looking everywhere. I felt very aware, but it turns out I really wasn't. And this can happen so easily on so many different things. Like the radio plays one of your favorite songs and you're just like get lost in the song, or you fade off into another memory. Now, this goes into something else that I experienced that was crazy. Very similar situation. But when my first daughter was born, she was born very preemie. So she was born at 28 weeks, and then she was in the hospital for 4 months. During that time, it was extremely stressful. So if you're going through something stressful, what I experienced was, and my husband experienced this too, we had to watch out for each other because we were going through so much stress with this. Our minds were at the hospital. Getting to and from the hospital was like a daze. Like you don't even remember the journey. It was so crazy. Like your brain just like goes somewhere else and you're not even fully conscious to where you're at. So many people who are in the NICU, their babies are in the NICU, get into car accidents. And this is the one major reason why. It is just a state that your brain and your body go into when you're under a lot of stress like that. Your heart and your consciousness are there with your baby. And it's why we encourage people to like drive you to the hospital. If you have somebody who can drive you, it's almost like, being under the influence. So you have to be conscious, or at least know your state, so that you know what? I am not fully conscious. I'm not in a position to be able to drive right now. Or, I'm not in a position to be able to be engaging with somebody right now because I'm just so overwhelmed with the thoughts that are on my mind. Or finding things that you can do to kind of help yourself become present. Like journaling or writing things down that you're carrying in your mind so that you have a place to put it on the external. Say before you go to bed, or before you go to drive, or before you go to spend some time with your kids, so you can be fully conscious, because it is so hard to look back and realize that there are so many times that we were not fully conscious, we were not fully present, we were not fully there. And people tend to know it. Children know it. They know when your attention isn't fully there. They're like, mommy, mommy. You're like, you're right here on my lap. What? You keep saying mommy, mommy, but I'm right here. They know that even though they're right there, you're right there, that you're not fully there. If you're engaging on your phone and they're asking you questions, they know that you're not fully engaged in what they're thinking or what they're sharing with you. It's hard. I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to do on a daily basis, because I find myself juggling lots of things. I've got my own companies going. I've got my own family that I'm running. I've got homeschooling going. I've got lots of things that are running. Friendships. I help moms get healthy. I interact with lots of people. It's hard to juggle it all, and I totally get that. But when we don't give a quality self to each moment, then we're going to crash something. And that's where I feel the worst, is I made this huge mistake of not being present and putting myself at risk and other people that were on the road. Even if there were a few people, what if I hurt one person? One person. That would have been devastating. And that's the last thing that I want for my life, for the testimony of my life. Praise God that He sent that officer to stop me before I got into serious trouble. I thank God for that officer, because he helped wake me up and help me to be conscious for the present time that I was at, so I did not hurt myself and I didn't hurt anybody else on the road, because I don't know that I could live with that. That would be such a horrible thing to have to live with. And there's a story that has never left my mind, because to me it is so traumatic, and I don't know how this mom continues to live with it, because it's just such a heart-wrenching story. But in the Phoenix Valley, there was this mom who was a principal of a school, and she was juggling a lot. She had a meeting, she had her baby in the car, and she got donuts for the meeting, she got everything ready, and she thought that she had dropped off her baby to the babysitter, and she hadn't. She got everything out of her car, she went to the meeting, and Arizona gets very hot. Her daughter didn't make it. She was left in the car, and the mom forgot. She thought she had done it because she was juggling so much. She thought she had done it. What a heart-wrenching thing to have to live with. I don't want to be that mom. I don't want to find that I am so busy being somewhere else, making sure my list is checked off in so many areas, that I drop the ball where it really counts. I don't ever want to hurt somebody because I wasn't conscious about my decisions in that moment. And I hope and I pray that God has mercy on me and that He helps me to be conscious in every moment of every day so that I don't hurt anyone, so that I am able to engage with my children in a level that is fulfilling for them, that I'm able to give to my friends a very present, listening ear with a compassionate heart, so that I can reflect the person that I want to be, not this uncharacteristic person that I feel like I'm not. I want to be conscious in my life so that I can feel the good, that I can embrace the bad, that I can walk alongside of every person that's in my life in every moment, even if they're just there for a split second. And I pray forgiveness for the person that I was behind on the freeway. I never hurt them physically, but because I was going fast, I wouldn't want to see somebody coming up behind me quickly. That's scary. So I pray forgiveness for that. And I pray that I'm able to be conscious and understand that my life is valuable with or without my kids in the car. And that other people's lives around me is valuable with or without my kids in the car. And that every moment in every part of my life that I'm able to be conscious and present and give the best of me that's possible. So I hope and I pray that that blesses you and that you are able to also be present in your life and be the best person you can possibly be. So seek life, live abundantly, bless richly, and be present, everyone.